Hi everybody, and welcome back to another Reddit daily video. In these videos, I just look at the default front page of Reddit with the location set to popular and everywhere. And right now it is just about 10 a.m. GMT or so on Thursday, May 20th. So let's dive in. First up, we have a post from Interesting as F, submitted by Ainsley Sorsby. The title is, "Orangutans are not communal animals, and fathers in the wild are usually absent. Barani, a male orangutan, at the Denver Zoo, is defying that rule by stepping in as the sole caretaker for his 3-year-old daughter, Sarah, after her mom unexpectedly passed away." That's a doozy of a title, but I think it packs just about all of the information that we need. And here we have a GIF. This proud papa orangutan is taking some good care of his daughter Sarah. Just a happy baby and a happy dad. Heartwarming stuff. You have to wonder, maybe this is unusual in the wild. They're in captivity. Maybe that affects their bond for each other. Maybe they've been influenced by their contact with humans to some degree. You know, I don't really know anything about this, so I'm going to jump into the comments. See if anybody sheds some light on this situation. So the same poster, Ainsley Sorsby, has the top comment with 2,114 points. On the other hand, orangutan moms, I don't know how to say that word. Orangutan? Orangutan. I always said orangutan, but that's not how it's spelled. When you read it, I want to say orangutan. Orangutan. Anyways. Moms and kids have the most long-term bond among mammals besides humans, since they stay with their mom for up to 9 years and nurse for most of that time. I'm pretty sure the zoo is supplementing her diet, they must be. But as you can see in the clip, she's trying to nurse on his cheek flaps. She's looking for some milk from Papa. It doesn't work that way. Male orcas stay with their mothers for life, says Trippy Trickster. Signal commercial responds, "Today I learned my ex-husband is an orca." Next up, from our Futurology, the battle for a $15 minimum wage is already won. Even without Congress acting, companies are feeling pressured to meet what's become the new benchmark for worker pay. Opening up the post here. It looks like it's a link from Bloomberg.com. Top comment from Phoenix14830. Meanwhile, IT help desk jobs are $17 an hour, require a bachelor's degree, professional certifications, and 2 to 5 years of experience. It seems the minimum wage needs to go up for people to leave their desk jobs to make a labor shortage to make the degree positions pay better. Somebody responds, in RF Martin, in quotes, "a bachelor's degree. This is all non-STEM degrees are worth now. Our generation got played." Okay, next up from RNBA. Submitted by CP3 for MVP. In brackets, highlight, LeBron beats the shot clock with the clutch triple over Curry. How long is this? Okay, so LeBron James is just near the 3-point line. Let the professionals commentate on it. a basketball happened. And it was exciting to people who knew what was going on. Next, Ari Berserk. I think that's a manga and an anime. Title, Kentaro Miura has passed away on May 6th. I wonder, is that the creator of Berserk? Okay, so they post a link from @Berserk Project on Twitter. Well, that's sad if the creator of Berserk died. Not that I'm a particularly big fan, I'm just not that familiar with it. Somebody says, absolutely devastating. Aside from the implications as a fan, my heart goes out to his family. That's from Aqua AK. Some Love responds, it's absolutely tragic. He was so young for something like an aortic dissection to happen. Oh, I'm so gutted for his family. Rest in peace to an absolute towering figure in manga. Wow. Yeah, that's really sad. It sounds like he was not even done with his series, or there were stories left unfinished. So it's sad on a lot of levels. Somebody with a lot more art to give to the world. Next up, our world news, posted by really_y. Title, CBS host confronts Israel's Netanyahu. And those are my dogs freaking out. CBS host confronts Israel's Netanyahu. Are you killing Palestinians as a plot to stay in power? In quotes. Asks the CBS host. I'm clicking the link, which brings us to a story on Raw Story.
Let me ask, I want you to respond to one other thing before we go, which is your domestic challenges. You are under investigation for bribery, fraud, breach of trust. You've also had some difficulty for failed attempts to put together a government in the last 23 months. This leads to the criticism that your current actions are basically an effort to stay in power. And what's your response to that?
That's preposterous. You know, when I was a young soldier, 18 years old, I held a fellow soldier who died in my arms. A few years later, my older brother, died while leading a rescue mission in Entebbe, Uganda to release Israeli hostages. I've seen comrades fall. I've seen my brother fall. And I think anybody who knows me knows that I've never, ever subordinated security concerns, the life of our soldiers, the life of our citizens, for political interests. That's just hogwash. I'll do what I have to do to protect the lives of Israeli citizens.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm sure as a soldier, as a brother, you know, he's experienced tough things in his past. Kind of a dodgy response to me. I find it hard to excuse what's going on. I'm not going to make an effort to excuse it. It's not right. Let's see what the comments say. From Roger Melly, in quotes, you are under investigation for bribery, fraud, breach of trust, Dickerson noted. Quotes continue, you've also had some difficult failed attempts to put together a government. So it's what we just listened to. Another comment, Rick Legend asked, is any of that untrue? Seems like a perfectly reasonable statement. It's not good. I can say that. Whatever the reasons or why, it's not good. Next, NBA. A lot of news in basketball. That's the front page. The tone can shift. One minute we might see a goofy meme. The next minute we might be reading about Israel and Palestine. My first video of this, I took out the serious stuff because I thought the shift in tone was too tricky to navigate. But I think in the long term, if I keep doing this kind of an archive of the front page of Reddit, the good and the bad are important to see. And I try my best to avoid the front page of Reddit until I make these videos, to record my kind of natural reaction to this world news and other things. Sometimes it's just goofy memes, sometimes it's serious world news. But on to basketball. Post-game thread. The Los Angeles Lakers inch past the Golden State Warriors 103-100 to advance to the first round of the playoffs. There you go. Lakers are going to the playoffs, Warriors aren't. Next, from the subreddit Data is Beautiful, submitted by Academic Advice. Oh, the previous NBA post was from Wide Sheep, username Wide Sheep. Academic Advice on Our Data is Beautiful says, who makes more, teachers or cops? OC in brackets here means this is original content by Academia Advice. And we have a nice infographic here. Who makes more, teachers or cops? The median annual salary for police patrol officers in 2020 was $65,540. The median salary for elementary school teachers was $60,940. The text continues, who makes more? There's a key here for the map of the United States. Orange means teachers make much more. Yellow means teachers make slightly more. Gray means not much difference. Light purple means cops make slightly more. Dark purple means cops make much more. And then you can see all around here on the West Coast, a lot of dark purple, some light purple, and some gray, meaning mostly cops make more, with a couple of states leading into the Midwest, cops not making much more. When you get over to the East Coast, you see more of the rich orange and some of the yellow, meaning teachers appear to make quite a bit more than police officers in the South, other than Florida. It says in Georgia, median teacher pay is $61K and median cop pay is $46K. In Arizona, median teacher pay is $46K and median cop pay is $68K. So there you have it. Arizona and Georgia are kind of the opposite in terms of teacher versus police officer pay. Okay, next up, from R Libertarian, submitted by 343 Politics. The title is, the U.S. doesn't have a labor shortage, it has an incentive shortage. This is kind of like something that a previous post touched on. Top comment from Gecko for Life. A friend of mine has a plumbing business, $40 an hour to clean septic tanks, literal shit work. He put up an ad and got over 2,000 applications in 4 days. Yeah. I mean, I agree with that sentiment. If you can't find labor in the price range that you're offering, it's probably not a labor shortage. It's that you're not offering the correct pay for the market value of, what people are willing to work for. Maybe they're finding better opportunities, It's kind of tough if you're an employer, but that's how the game works, I guess. Sometimes maybe we're ready for a time for workers to have a little bit of, more of a choice in the types of opportunities that they have and have a little bit of a better situation. Mr. Making It Up As I Go, hey, it's just like me. How to make your employees say, I do get paid enough for this shit. Offer $40 an hour to clean shit, and your employees will say, seems about right. Sure, I'm scooping poop, but I have a nice place to stay. I have job security. Manual labor is intense, but maybe other stressors could be a little bit less. compared to some kind of an office job or something where it's a different kind of stress to be sitting at a desk staring at spreadsheets and trying your best to motivate yourself, as opposed to going out and doing hard physical labor and maybe going home and feeling a different kind of satisfaction. They're different things. Next up are memes submitted by Atmanribar Prani. Text every time. Text at the top. Me proceeds to hug a female friend. My red blood cells. There's a picture of red blood cells. One says, "Want to go to the dick?" The other one says, "LMAO, yeah." Bodies work in mysterious ways. Next on Unpopular Opinion, submitted by Tuna. Text, I have no problem saying it. Demi Lovato is using being non-binary to make even more money. Oh, this is unpopular opinion after all. So they continue to say, if this is who they truly are, more power to them. But just like all the overdoses and drug abuse and all the comebacks, they're going to write some BS sappy songs about how the world was against them, but now they're stronger and better and their fans are going to eat all that S up. People are going to call them brave or non-binary hero. If they're truly a hero, they shouldn't take a single cent from this. Don't use this to make money at all, especially if they're already a millionaire. This is unpopular opinion. So it's in order for it to be popular and to meet the conditions of the subreddit, it has to be controversial. Those are kind of the rules. So in reading that, I don't agree with anything really that they say. I think they're jumping to some conclusions just because this is me talking now, just because somebody's rich doesn't mean that they're exempt from having any other problems in life. So top comment, Tinzon_Mohawk. Is this because of the march from Camp Rock 2? I don't really understand the reference, but I'm pretty sure that was funny. Inevitable Caller 50. It's like every week Demi has some new thing to get into the spotlight. See, this kind of stuff, you don't really know. How can you make that kind of a judgment call on somebody that you don't know? Because they're rich and famous doesn't mean that they can't be miserable in many other ways that you have no frame of reference for. This whole, like, people get an idea in their heads and they think that it must be the truth, and they just like, it's like a sickness that they hold and become bitter. And so often there's nothing confirming that their suspicion is true other than what they see, which they're seeing through the lens of wanting to confirm what they already believe. It's just like, it's that same BS is what I'm seeing here. They could be right, they could be wrong, but to me this just looks like conjecture and bitterness. So I hope everybody involved is happy and healthy and safe and whatever else, and they live their best lives, right? Next, our news. Submitted by KD is dumb. Sorry, Katie. Text. Newly released Capitol riot footage shows unidentified suspects attacking officers with a tactical baton and metal knuckles. So I remember this, obviously I remember it, it was only a few months ago, but I don't live in the US. I live in Japan, so I'm in a different time zone, and I had trouble sleeping that night. I just had a feeling after the inauguration, because it was all over online on certain circles and social media. I just wanted to see. I was drawn to it like a moth to a flame. So I was watching, and it's funny. People are trying to play down what happened when we all watched people storm into the building, breaking windows and shouting slogans, and this effort to like backtrack it is just it's weird to watch. It's kind of mind-blowing. Noble06 top comment says, the hilarious thing is that they had an amazing opportunity and that it was perfectly acceptable to have worn masks to hide their identity, but their own idiotic rhetoric prevented that. It is a literal once-in-a-century chance to walk around with your face covered and not be questioned or seem suspicious. Bunch of brain-dead idiots. Okay, I think that's a little too far. Well, the people who stormed the actual Capitol, yeah, that was a bad move. I don't necessarily think all the people who believe the same things that they believe are idiots. That's, to me, is going a little too far. Next up, are funny. Submitted by Jace Altair. Text, cowboy dude taking his dog for a ride. Oh. Just going to turn down the music. But the song is just the two of us, and there's a little Chihuahua mix riding on one of those like coin-operated horse rides outside of a grocery store. And the Chihuahua's owner is in a cowboy hat, just like having a great time. They're dancing. Dog's tail is wagging. That's good stuff. Nice palate cleanser from some of the other stuff on the front page today. Okay, next effing level. Again. Submitted by Baba Booba. Text, we're all in different levels of fitness. Expand the image here.
In your day, let me see if I can help you out. First of all, don't be embarrassed if you can't do a pull-up. We're all at different places in our fitness journey. There are a lot of really strong people that once couldn't do a pull-up. Second, you can do a pull-up. There are many kinds of pull-ups. As I often say, wall pull-ups are easy, one-arm pull-ups are hard. For most of us, some of you are scary strong. So find a pull-up variation that you can do.
So it's a nice young man teaching people how to do pull-ups, and there's a lot of different options. It's a guy with long hair. He looks very muscular at some two pull-up straps with rings on them that you can do all kinds of things exercise-wise with, I guess. And saying, hey, if you can't do a full-on pull-up right now, there's all kinds of different forms of fitness and whatnot. So here's a few approaches to do other kinds. I'm not going to necessarily describe all the methods. He's skimming through it. He's leaning on a pole, kind of pulling himself toward the pole, and then he brings it up a notch where he's leaning backwards toward the ground and pulling himself on his little ropes, and then you work your way up to a full-on pull-up. I don't know if I call that next effing level, but it was popular today. Damn, that's interesting. Submitted by My Memes Will Cure You. Text, Muppet Penguin. Expand the image. Two groups of penguins pass each other, stopping briefly to exchange information. So yeah, it's two groups of penguins. They just hop up to each other in a valley, and they have a little conversation, it looks like. They meet, face each other face to face. One of them joins. Two of them aren't sure which group to join. Like, wait a minute, these are my guys. And they go back with the other group. Then we have a comment on Twitter, it looks like. Kim, at NanoSounds, says, I can't get over that one penguin who goes off with the wrong group, so his friend hops over to get him. What a Muppet. Yeah, so that's what actually happened. One of the penguins went with the wrong group, and then another one went and grabbed him and said, wait, you're with us, come on. Penguins are so cool. Okay, No, Yes. Submitted by Oisamakalize8. Text, cat learns to use a hammock. Looks like we got a GIF or a video. Yeah, it's a GIF. So this fluffy cat, first, it just runs straight up to the hammock, knocks it over. Next, it tries to approach from on top of an ottoman or a footstool or whatever that thing is to try to get on it. Eventually, it finds its way on the hammock. But it's still kind of struggling. It's not sure how how gravity works, I guess. Eventually, it figures out how to lounge in the hammock without falling. So now the hammock's out on a deck overlooking some koi fish. Well, that's nice. Cat figured out how to use a hammock. Smart little guy. Our movies, submitted by Samot99. Oh, Paul Mooney dies. Writing partner of Richard Pryor was 79. The legendary Paul Mooney. I saw this earlier, so I'm not totally taken by surprise, but that's really sad. You may remember him. People around my age, or older, I guess, might remember his segments on Chappelle's Show. He was a writing partner for the legendary Richard Pryor. So there's a whole article here on Deadline. Next, more NBA. I mean, I guess I just learned today, based on the previous post, that playoffs are about to happen. Highlight: Curry beats the first buzzer with a three only he can hit. It seems like basically the same. If you like basketball, you probably already know about this, so I'm going to keep moving. Are funny. Submitted by SNBRD512. Text: smoking weed in public. Expand the video here. There's a guy he's got like his Beats headphones. His head is buried in his hoodie. His head and his arms and everything, they're inside of his hoodie. You can see his abdomen. He's got a skateboard on his lap. He takes a hit from his pipe. A ton of smoke starts coming out. His shirt catches on fire. Now he has to take off his shirt. There's got to be a better way. Respect, though, for the the attempt at innovation. If only it was that simple. Submitted to our political humor. Submitted by Fearless File 5908. Text: GOP is a party of fraud. This is Reddit. I think you should know, going into Reddit, there are certain political leanings depending on the subreddit. Political humor, I think, notoriously would post something like this. So, submitted by Hard Truths. The GOP is willing to investigate an election that was decided over 6 months ago, but not an insurrection that left 5 dead 3 months ago. Yeah, no comment really there. Ask Men by Delta36S. Title: I'm 27 male, about to get my first one-bedroom apartment. What are some things I should know about living alone for the first time? So I haven't lived at home since college, but I've always wanted to live with roommates. My lease is up at the end. Wait, haven't lived at home since college, but I've always lived with... Okay, so he's always had roommates. Now he's on his own. He wants to know what to do. Short guy number 1 says, number 1, it's going to be quiet very often. If you're not okay with that, consider buying a Bluetooth speaker or some sort of white noise generator. 2, toilet paper, dishwashing liquid, laundry detergent, soap, shower curtain plunger, towels, trash bag, and a can. All things you need to remember to buy. 3, consider buying less food more often. I'm not sure how the food arrangement was with your old roommates, but I know I threw a lot of old food away when I lived alone because I kept buying too much. 4, if you start feeling lonely, don't be afraid to reach out. Living alone is a totally different experience, and in my opinion, will teach you a lot about yourself that you didn't know before. 5, enjoy the peacefulness. Seems like good advice. Next up, Our Public Freakout. Uh-oh. By Dr. Chimpanzee. Tim Ryan of Ohio has had enough of your shit.
Republicans who are supporting this, and thank them for their bipartisanship. To the other 90% of our friends on the other side of the aisle, Holy cow. Incoherence. No idea what you're talking about. Benghazi, you guys chased the former Secretary of State all over the country, spent millions of dollars. We have people scaling the Capitol, hitting the Capitol Police with lead pipes across the head, and we can't get bipartisanship. What else has to happen in this country? Cops. This is a slap in the face to every rank and file cop in the United States. If we're going to take on China, if we're going to rebuild the country, if we're going to reverse climate change, we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them. I yield back the balance. I want to thank the gentleman from New York.
So this is another. There are a couple other posts I think about this earlier. They're trying to investigate the riots at the Capitol after the inauguration. I wish I could say I was surprised that this is the way it's playing out. Basically, it's good that the two parties disagree. I wish there was the ability to have more diverse opinions. What becomes a problem is when the whole goal is kind of to disagree, not really to solve problems or to find common ground, but just to disagree and just hate the other side. It's the same country. You're supposed to be kind of serving the same goal. You're doing what is good for the people who elected you. I know I'm sick of the level of partisanship. It's just out of control. It really is. I don't want to say that it's all the Republicans' fault. In this case, some of that is happening, and it's hard. It's just you can't assume people's motives, and I don't think it's right to. You can question how they act or their judgment. I don't like assuming that anybody is doing things for any reason, but in this case, the country I want to see, and I hope other people want to see us coming together more. And all this like calling each other names, whether it's the right doing it to the left or the left doing it to the right. It's just, I'm so sick of it. Next, Ask Reddit. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and go back to what I was just saying, because I don't mean to say people shouldn't get passionate and disagree. We definitely should. That's part of what's great about living in a democracy. You know, you shouldn't be afraid to be outspoken when you actually do have different principles and disagree with somebody. So my point isn't like they're both equally wrong or equally right. I believe that there are people who genuinely care about their country and the things they do on both sides of the party. This will take a lot of editing. Anyways, Ask Reddit. Thorn 628. Is there an actor or actress whose movies you will not watch? If so, who and why? Tebow the Great says, my mother refuses to see any film with Rowan Atkinson because she only sees him as Mr. Bean for everything. Personally, I think that just makes his role funnier. Sneal365 says, he basically was Mr. Bean in Johnny English. Pretty much. Let's see, who else did people say? Hey Minator. Everything with German actor Matthias Schweigerhofer in it is an absolute no-go for me. He's very popular, and it feels like he's the lead in every shallow BS comedy Germany has made in the last decade. Can't stand the guy. Don't know who that is. Salman Khan from Bollywood. Overall, overrated actor. Killed a few homeless people on the streets as he ran them over. Oh, wow. Framed his driver for that. And the driver died unsupported by anyone. Oh, wow. That's messed up. Unnamed Picture Show says, most Scientologist actors, especially Elizabeth Moss. How are you going to star in a TV show about a cult taking over a country when you're in a cult that wants to take over the country? Okay. Our Politics by Brother No Good. 35 Republicans vote in favor of January 6th commission. Oh, this will be interesting. There's always a wedge. Like, just one time I want to see this effort to form a wedge be refused by both sides and just acknowledge, like, we're not going to do it this time. That'd be amazing. Even Glow, top comment, says, many Republicans are concerned the bill will be weaponized to subpoena members. And that's it. That's all they care about, according to Even Glow. So this is an article from Axios. So the House of Representatives voted 252 to 175 on Wednesday to pass a bill to set up a bipartisan 9/11 style commission to investigate the deadly January 6th Capitol riots. So it did pass. Why it matters. Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and GOP leadership opposed the commission, but 35 House Republicans voted in support of the bill. So, despite all I just said, there is some bipartisanship going on. And that the article continues, underscoring the fault lines within the party in the aftermath of the insurrection. So the Republican Party itself is a little bit fractured. The amount of Republican support makes it far more difficult for Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to try to dismiss the commission outright as a partisan effort. Yeah, on that note, from what I just said, you know, this could be perceived, depending on your viewpoint, as a wedge that somebody's trying to draw between two sides. It's all narratives that can be spun in any direction, really. These days, if you can string words together and make them sound nice, people might listen. Says the guy into the microphone on YouTube. Our picks. Lick my mustache. It's good. As a text, my local water hole doesn't give a shit and I love it. The image, you must still wear a mask. If you give staff a hard time about this, then you must leave. We will also post your picture to the other bars so they know not to serve you for being an ass. I know people like this. They don't, it feels like you're imposing on them, like they don't have freedom, like they're losing their rights to be asked to wear a mask. If you're in somebody else's restaurant, bar, whatever, and they're okay with you not wearing a mask, there you go. If you're in somebody else's place and they, out of the concern for the safety of their employees, ask you to wear a mask, you don't have to agree with them. You don't have to go to the place. You don't have to cause a scene. Believe it or not, to most people, the issue is not a symbol for their freedom. It is just a bare minimum effort to protect people who may be vulnerable. Which includes people that aren't in the bar, but maybe their partner, their parents, their children, whatever, when they go home. And, you know, maybe it's questionable to be out at a bar to begin with in that case. That's a valid point, but there are people that are working who need to make a living, and they have families, and, you know, you should, this is obvious. Come on. Are teenagers. Submitted by Simclex. Well, I shot my shot is the text, and expanded image looks like screen cap from some messages. First message, hey. Second message, no. Next message, understandable, have a nice day. Other person, wait, come back. Sorry, crying face. And then the poster wrote over the original message, because I think maybe they're embarrassed by it, and said, me saying I like him. So they said something. The person said that they like the other person. It looks like they even left a voice message. And the other person said, wait, really? I've liked you actually for a long time. The other person says, can I call you? And then that person says, yes. One call later, good night with a heart. Good night with a heart. Well, that's sweet. And they said I shot my shot. So they told the person. It feels so difficult in the moment, right? I remember that. But if you don't do it, then you're just going to have regrets, or you might feel put out or led on or whatever, but it's your fault for not making it clear from the beginning if you have intentions. But it's nice when it comes together in a nice way like that, where it works out for everybody. And with that, that's the end of the front page of Reddit. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, it's very easy. All you have to do is subscribe. And if you really feel special, you can click the bell. I'll be doing these every day for a little while until somebody tells me to stop or I just kind of give up. Somebody noticing, seeing these things, leaving a comment, subscribing, that goes a long way and motivating me to keep doing it. Otherwise, I'll just move on to another project. So, no harm, no foul. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.